Day number 5. Last one. That's what we're going as. That's how we're doing. I stayed up late last night, went out with a bunch of these like PhD students and professors to this like Mexican restaurant, which was like really great. We talked about sleep. We had a great time. So I'm exhausted, but feel like we're looking all right. Gonna go down. It's the last day. See some things. A bunch of big keynote speakers. Maybe hang out. There's like a dream ball. We'll see how that goes. I'm not much for dancing and doing the dream ball thing, but who knows? We'll see what makes it into the video. I'll see you later. Well, I'm here with Clarita, and Clarita's done some really cool research on lucid dreaming in athletes. Now, I don't think that was like originally like your focus of your career and like your doctorate and stuff, but maybe just introduce yourself, like how you got interested in that topic and what your research is about.
Sure. So my name is Clarita. I'm originally from Italy, but I haven't actually lived in Italy for a long time. I grew up in Luxembourg, then did my undergraduate studies in Scotland, did my masters in Sheffield in the UK, and now I'm in Australia doing my PhDs. So,
She's been everywhere, man.
I like to travel.
Yeah. Although you're a little sick of it this week. You're like
Yes, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little travel sick. I want to go
You're going
home.
back to Australia and you're losing a whole day. Like a whole
Yeah.
You're traveling so far around the world, you're losing like 24 hours.
I know, it's crazy.
That's
I'm
wild.
gonna be
Where does
a
it
day
go?
older without even actually having experienced that day.
Time is relative, baby.
So I've a background in engineering, but after having finished my masters, I realized I wasn't actually really interested in engineering. Like, I like the idea of it, but I don't think my mind really works for the practical side. And
That's good that you can pivot though, you know? Like some people are just like, oh, well, I'm stuck in engineering now. But you're like, no, like, I don't know. Life's too short. There's too many cool things to like explore.
Yeah, exactly. Everything I've learned throughout my engineering, I guess, education, I'm applying now. So
Yeah.
It's been great. If I'd had to go back, I'd like do it again. I just kind of got interested in sleep because I found a PhD position advertised in New Zealand. Yeah, after my masters. Yeah, and it was like on sleep and elite athletes, and I kind of got interested in it. And then I ended up running a short proposal with a bunch of different topics I wanted to look at.
Okay.
And I just kind of sent it all around the world to ask see if anyone was interested in working with me, or I guess like I wanted to do a PhD basically, and I was just started looking for grants or universities or research centers that wanted to I guess employ me for a couple of years. I got rejected a lot. I spent like 15 months applying, being
Over a year.
rejected, and then eventually got accepted at Queensland University of Technology, where I'm at the moment.
Nice.
Yeah, and I'm doing lucid dreaming research, which is really exciting.
Yeah, I didn't know. I was saying this earlier, like in the week. I didn't know lucid dreaming was such a popular topic. Like, I didn't know that was such a big thrust in like the research community, and like there were so many interesting things.
I'm starting to catch some interest, which is great. I know that, so for example, one of the reviews I'm almost published. Well, I'm just waiting. It's in press currently, so it's about to be published, which is really exciting. So I basically did like a short review on the effectiveness of lucid dreaming for practicing waking skills. And even for that short review, I found only 7 studies, and 6 of them were by the same like 3-4 people. So within the lucid dreaming and motor learning community, it's a very, very small field.
Yeah. So basically though, that's you like looking at the possibility of, if you dream about something and you lucid dream about practicing this thing, does that make you better at it in waking life, right?
Yes, basically.
That's the basic idea.
Yeah, so you basically
sometimes we talk science and it's like, what?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay,
so
I've got it right.
basically
No,
be
you did great.
consciously practicing a particular skill in your lucid dream, and
Does it help?
Yeah, does it actually help? And there's
What are we finding out?
well, research suggests that it does help, which is really exciting. So
It does
there's,
help.
a fair amount of accounts from lucid dreamers, some athletes even, that claim they're practicing skills, practicing their sport, and they feel more confident the next day and they feel their performance improved, which is pretty cool.
So does it help because they actually perform better, or does it help because their confidence improves? So like, is it more like technical improvement or emotional improvement?
Well, that's actually one of the things that I addressed in my first PhD study, which I talked about here.
It was very good.
This
Very
year.
good.
So I basically ran a survey where I looked at the frequency of lucid dreams in adolescent population, so both adolescent athletes and their non-athlete counterparts. And I also looked at like how lucid dreaming is being used, because there's like different applications that you can adopt when you're lucid dreaming. You can have fun, you can fly and laugh, play, whatever, or you can practice skills, which is
a lot of
the
people
focus of
just
my
have
PhD.
fun. That's what you're kind of finding, right? Is like most people just like, oh, I'm flying around, I'm, I don't know, fighting off zombies or like having a lot of sex.
Yeah, that's pretty much what people do. Most people do,
yeah.
Anyway, what we're talking about, motor learning.
Yeah, so was it technical or was it more emotional?
Yeah,
like the
so in
improvements?
my study found that it seemed like waking confidence was increasing more often than sport performance, which I thought was quite interesting.
So it is a little bit more emotional.
I don't know.
Well, hard to say, but
to my knowledge, this is the first time that someone's actually looked at confidence versus performance. There's a handful of like pre-post designs for quantitative studies where they basically gave some participants a motor task. So like, I think they did it with like a finger tapping task, coin tossing into a cap. And
I've seen the button pressing one.
Yeah, and
you gotta do a
also
sequence and how fast.
dart throwing, and they gave these tasks to a
that.
bunch of lucid dreamers. So they tested their performance before they went to bed, then they got them to practice this task in their lucid dreams, and then the following day they tested them again, and they found that their performance had improved compared to a control condition, no practice condition, for example, or like mental practice and physical performance as well. Obviously they improved as well, but so did lucid dreaming, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
But in terms of performance, I think that was a pretty interesting finding, because it potentially could mean that athletes or individuals who may practice particular skills in their lucid dreams may actually feel more confident in executing particular skills, despite not actually attaining their desired performance outcomes, which I think is pretty cool.
Well, I think for me too, like I know when I talk with people in my clinical practice, a lot of people will avoid sleep or not sleep because they're like, oh, I have all this work to do, or I have to do these things. And so kind of introducing the idea that you can get sleep and you can still practice the thing that you want to practice, well, wouldn't that just solve all the problems?
Well,
potentially.
Yeah,
we don't know yet, but it's an interesting idea.
I think it may also depend what type of task you may practice. So my second study I ran some interviews where I spoke to adolescent lucid dreamers to kind of understand what their experiences were like. And I spoke to a few people who practice motor skills in their lucid dreams. One great example actually I have is from this surfer. He practices, and he was saying that he felt really confident when he wake up, but then when he actually went surfing or skateboarding, he could actually do the tricks that he was able to do in his lucid dreams.
So he's doing these wild things in his dreams.
Despite feeling really confident. Yeah, pretty much.
He's feeling really confident, but then he goes to try to do it in real life.
And he still can't do them, and it just splash in the water. But quite interestingly, he did say that this only happened with tasks or like tricks that he could not do in the first place, if that makes sense. So
so we're not sure like if he already knew how to do the trick, did it improve him doing that trick?
Yes, so
these are just new tricks he does not do at all.
Yeah, they couldn't do anywhere when he was awake.
Okay.
However, let's say that he was practicing an ollie, right?
Okay.
A skateboarding trick.
Yeah.
So most people
I know what an ollie is.
Okay, good.
I'm with you.
So he could already do it fairly well during wakefulness. But if he was practicing that during a lucid dream and then try that again, say the next day, he said that he felt his performance was improving. So it seems like you need some kind of knowledge or you need to be able to kind of do the tricks. It might be better for tricks that you can already do or tasks you already have some kind of knowledge of. And
that would kind of make sense.
That can help you improve. Whereas maybe new tricks might either take more practice or maybe cognitive-based tricks, or cognitive-based tasks or better for lucid dreaming than non-cognitive ones.
So there's
the
a lot
more
of
complex
nuances.
Ones, so I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of like nuances that need to be looked into.
Yeah.
But it is interesting to see there's definitely an emotional component to it.
It seems
The
like it,
confidence
yeah.
is definitely there. And then it's like there's improvement, but it's like figuring out what's kind of the cause of the improvement. What's really like the focus? What's the brain actually doing? Because we know it makes an effect.
Yeah, so they found there's some studies that reported like similarities between like in terms of brain activity. So say if you're like Stephen LaBerge, actually, I think it was his paper.
Yeah.
But he was doing it with, I think, don't quote me on
we
that.
had
I'm
lunch
not
right
fully
next to
sure if
him.
it was his paper or not, but
Sure, that's okay.
Anyway, some very clever lucid dreaming researcher did this, and he tested like I think it was hand clenching, and he looked at the like muscle activation and the brain activation.
Okay.
I think it was muscle activation as well, I'm pretty sure, but definitely brain activation. And they found that there was still similarities when you did that in a lucid dream compared to wakefulness or mental practice. So it seems like those brain areas are still being activated. So there's most likely some kind of task improvement in terms of like, motor learning. That's what evidence suggests. But is this all very, very new? And there's like plenty of
this is like the leading edge of this
opportunities to
stuff.
explore and find out what tasks might work better, what tasks might not work as well. There's also
That's
a whole
fantastic.
side of like you might encounter distractions or problems in a lucid dream. So say, I think in the dart study, someone was saying that they were throwing darts and then at some point they started throwing pencils instead of darts.
Huh.
And that might have like confused or distracted. That could put. If you did that when you were awake, and any kind of distraction might maybe throw you off from your practice.
Yeah.
And in that particular dart study, they found that dreamers who'd experience many of these distractions, their performance didn't actually improve.
So
Whereas
if they're
those
practicing the actual task, there's improvement. But if like it switches to pencils or something.
Oh yeah, if they
It doesn't
encounter
actually
some kind of
improve.
distractions, then
So so concentrating in a dream would kind of be important too.
yeah. But concentrating, I think mainly just being able to deal with all these problems. Or you might have a plan
Wow, that's
and
really
you want to
interesting.
practice a certain task. And there's an interview study that talked about there was this girl or this participant. I don't know whether they were male or female.
Sure.
But they planned to practice a particular skill, and then in their dream they realized they were actually naked. So they forgot.
Might be a little distracting.
Might be a little distracting, yeah. And they ended up spending the rest of their lucid dreams looking for clothes and completely forgetting that they were meant to practice something.
Forgetting the task. Yeah. Well, that brings up an interesting thing that we were talking about over lunch too, which is kind of this new idea for me about a spectrum of lucidity, which is contested. Some people are into the idea, some people don't believe in that idea, but there's definitely something to be said. Certain people have more control, sort of more authority over their dreams than others. Like I was explaining in my dreams, oftentimes I've never known that it's a dream. There's one time I knew, but usually I will feel like I have control over what I'm doing. I can choose how to interact with the dream, but I don't know that I'm dreaming, which is kind of this funny in between I've learned in some ways. Some people can control almost everything. Some people can like control hardly anything at all. In fact, they feel like they get stuck in a nightmare lucid dream.
Yeah, I think that's
Levels.
this dream control idea is quite interesting. I don't like calling it dream control, but that's a term that most people use.
Is there a better term that you like?
I don't like to say that you control the dream. It's more like you influence it. But
Some
I think
more dream influence.
But I think dream influence doesn't sound very good. Dream control sounds a bit better. I think.
Okay, we'll catch back up with you on the term.
Anyway, that's just
When you write your next paper.
That's consensus that between, I guess, all lucid dreaming researchers and academics. But I think this idea of like people influencing or controlling the dream differently and the level of lucidity as well. This can vary not only from dream to dream, but also like throughout the same dream. Some people might have great.
Well, like the one guy, right? He's throwing the darts. He's practicing the darts.
Yeah, and
then he kind of loses
really
it a little
good,
bit.
yeah.
And it changes to pencils.
And I think it's just this fact that like
So it kind of
there's certain
vacillates.
things that you can't control. Your subconscious or whatever you have around you can still surprise you, I guess. Unfortunately I can't speak by experience because I'm not a great lucid dreamer myself.
Me either.
but,
Well, I'm gonna practice now. Now that I realize how important it could potentially be. Yeah.
I think especially for individuals in general, but I guess from an athletics perspective, it's quite interesting because athletes could potentially kind of create this ideal training environment that's
Yeah.
ideal for their personal, learning process.
Yeah.
Or they can simulate competitions, or maybe they don't like how I spoke to one participant I interviewed, for example. It was really interesting. He plays a lot of video games, and sometimes in his lucid dreams, he's like fighting this boss from one of his games, and then he might lose, and then he kind of goes back in time in his dream and tries a different tactic. Yeah, so that's pretty interesting.
Running scenarios for that person.
Yeah.
Well, it makes me think about, my background, the reason I got into dreams was because of clinical hypnotherapy, and hypnotherapy has been used for athletic performance a lot, because you can practice things and you can influence and suggest with confidence. And so that's an altered brain state, and sleeping is an altered brain state. So I wonder kind of what the similarity and contrasting is of that. I mean, we won't know, but it's just interesting to think about.
Yeah, future research.
Future research.
I think,
So speaking of that, so what's kind of next for you? I mean, this is, you've just done the research, you still have to publish your paper and all that.
Yeah.
But what are you thinking about, next? Is it going to be this field, or are you going back to engineering, or?
Oh, no, definitely not engineering.
Oh, not engineering, okay.
I'd like to continue remaining lucid dreaming research. I find it really fascinating, and it's a new emerging field, and I think it's pretty exciting to be part of it, and it feels like you can almost help shape the field, which I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Well, and you're pretty well connected with those who work with Stephen LaBerge.
Well, I am now.
Yeah.
Thanks to this conference. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really know anyone before, so I've only met all these great academics that I've been reading about and referencing.
Yeah, I'm trying to get everybody's emails. I'm like, wow,
5 days.
what great resources, man.
So no, that's pretty cool.
Yay for conferences.
Yay.
So more lucid dream sleep research for you, but not quite sure next.
I personally think that research should focus on induction methods. So there's not really a reliable
of lucid dreaming.
Yeah, how to teach people to lucid dream, because we struggle to find participants good enough to participate in studies, and that's a whole new other topic.
Yeah.
Scientifically verifying a lucid dream. That's
verifying
a whole
whether
different,
it was lucid or not.
Yeah, there's a very particular, gold standard scientific way of verifying whether someone is lucid dreaming.
I guess you have to kind of trust their subjective personal report.
No, there is an actual way of doing it. It's just
with scan,
Yeah, but
okay.
You should speak to Karen, or do you know Karen? She was at dinner with us yesterday.
Okay, well then I know Karen.
Yeah,
I'm bad with the names.
You should speak with her, because she's done a few, I think.
About kind of the quality of lucid dreams,
she's
the gold standard.
Yeah, she's done quite a lot of scientific verifications. She'll be able to walk you through the process.
She was sitting to the left of me, right? To my left. You were across the table, so it would have been to my right.
Yeah, I think so. No, she was next to Martin.
Next to Martin. Is she the one?
Oh no,
is she the one at the end of the table?
Claudia, I think.
Am I thinking of Claudia?
I mean, most of the people in that were sitting with us yesterday, they've all done it way more times than I ever did, because I tried.
Dreaming.
Yeah. Well, lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
Scientifically verified it as well. So I'd definitely speak to them.
Yeah,
because they'll be able to give you more information than me. Because I've tried to do it and it didn't work out, because unfortunately I just didn't work out. Sometimes it doesn't work out with research, because it's really hard to lucid dream. And if you just speak to her, she'll explain. It'll make sense why my way didn't work, I guess. It's just a lot. It's a long story.
Well, it's a huge obstacle for the research, because lucid dreaming is difficult. You also have to find participants who are skilled in that, and it's not guaranteed every time. If you give someone a reading test, they can read it every time that you give them that test. But if you give someone a lucid dreaming test, you're not certain whether they're going to have a lucid dream that night, and so you can waste a whole evening, a whole night, and get zero data for your efforts.
Well, exactly, yeah, because
and that's very frustrating.
You'll have to scientifically verify these dreams. You'd have to get them into a sleep lab, make them go through a full sleep study. And you're sleeping in a place that's probably quite uncomfortable, because it's not in your own bed.
You got all these things stuck to your head?
Yeah, you got all these things stuck to your head.
Well, sometimes taped to your face too.
Exactly, yeah. And you're expected to lucid dream and do something that, a very small percentage of the population can do on a very particular night.
Most of them are at this conference.
Yeah, but it's very different when you do it because you want to do it versus because someone tells you to do it. And you've got loads of stuff all attached to your head, and I think it's very different. And I think, unfortunately, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And if you look at many lucid dreaming papers, they tend to, out of maybe 16 people they recruit, only 10 lucid dream or something on that particular night.
That's rough.
Because, and I guess
Slow
that's
research.
why my study didn't work out, because unfortunately I had one participant, and oh well.
Oh.
It is what it is.
I don't think it didn't work out.
Oh
It
no,
maybe
no,
didn't
no.
work out
It
the way
didn't
you
work
want.
out. It's not the right.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
right
You got some
word.
great data.
Oh no, yeah.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah, it's not
okay,
the right
okay.
word.
I was like,
It's
I
not
thought
the
you were being
right-
hard on yourself.
Yeah. No. No.
Oh man. Well,
Um,
Clarita, this has been
Thank
great.
you.
Any other thoughts?
No, that's fine. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you wanna plug anything? Is there like, you know, Twitter account or an Instagram or anything?
Yes,
or-
I've got
Did you care
Twitter,
to-
but I don't actually know what my Twitter name is.
Oh, okay.
But if you Twitter this name, you'll be able to
That's
find
the
me.
one.
I think, hopefully.
We'll flip it. We'll
Oh
flip
yes.
it. It's mirrored here.
Yeah,
It's
I
mirrored
didn't
here.
even think about it. Yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
I'm not sure what my Twitter account is. I've only
That's
started
okay.
it recently, so I'm not sure. But if you,
Nice.
I think there's only one of me. Hopefully.
I like it. I
Yeah,
like it.
thank you
Well,
so
thanks so much.
much.
This has been
Thank
great.
you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
We'll see y'all soon.